Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Girl Order. I'm your host Anaya, and for today's episode I'm going to be talking about self-deprecating jokes, Gen Z humor, and profiting off of insecurities. Now for one, I put Gen Z humor in quotations because sometimes I do not like to associate myself with Gen Z, because Gen Z is filled with white teenagers who think using AAVE as slang is our slang, using black culture as a trend, as a joke, profiting off of black women's trauma and using it as entertainment. But I'm not going to get into that. Today's episode is about self-deprecating humor and how it is affecting us teenagers today. Now, I did do an episode on social media and insecurity and how it goes hand in hand, but I never really got into how it goes hand in hand. And one of the big things that social media brings to the table is self-deprecating jokes, because what is really trending right now is anxiety and depression and thinking it's quirky and funny, also hating yourself and also thinking that's quirky and funny too when it's not. Okay, and we are going to get into it. Now, if you don't know what self-deprecating means or what a self-deprecating joke is, it's basically a joke. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I never said one of these jokes before about myself, like I've never participated in these self-deprecating humors, these self-deprecating jokes. But basically, if you don't know what it is when you make a joke belittling yourself. Say, for example, oh my gosh, like, I'm so surprised this boy like actually likes me, like I'm so ugly, that type of stuff. Now, for one, I can't say that I've never done this before. Sometimes I still do it, but I do think it's really toxic, because a lot of times when you keep saying things, you convince your mind that it's true. If I keep saying, oh my gosh, I'm literally so ugly, even though I know I'm not freaking ugly, like I know I can get pretty, and I know that I have my rough looking days, but if I'm cute one time, I'm cute all the time, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ever rarely not look the same, if you know what I mean, unless I'm wearing like tons of makeup. But even then, I don't wear a lot of makeup. Not a hit at girls that wear makeup, because makeup is good, it's just not my forte. But yeah, so I feel like if you're pretty, you just are, you know what I mean? But at the same time, me calling myself ugly, me saying, oh my gosh, I hate myself, like, oh my gosh, if this keeps happening, I'm just literally going to kill myself, I'm going to commit suicide. Yeah, no, that's not, like, it's not cute. So with that being said, you know, I ultimately need to stop, and I'm trying to make it a habit to look at myself in the mirror and say, man, I am so pretty. I am so pretty. And then pointing out things that I like about myself, physical and non-physical, so I can convince my mind that I love myself and I'm pretty. Period. So I want to get into how self-deprecating jokes started, and really I feel like it started with YouTube culture and relatable YouTubers. Like, people try so hard to be relatable, and it turns into profiting off of things that most teens do not like about themselves, and a lot of teens find comfort in other teens not liking things about themselves because it feels normal. I don't know if I worded that right, but basically, if I'm like, oh, I don't like my hip dips, and somebody's like, oh, I don't like my hip dips either, I feel like, oh god, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. Like, I'm finding comfort in knowing that I'm not the only one that does not like my hip dips, and that hip dips are a regular thing, if you know what I mean. So that's another example. Is like, oh, I don't like my period blood smell, you know, and somebody's like, well, you're not supposed to, because period blood is not supposed to smell good, if you know what I mean. That made me feel comfortable with myself and my body, because I'm like, oh well, if it's not supposed to smell like flowers, then I have nothing to worry about, I'm completely fine, if you know what I mean. So It's like that. But people really do tend to find humor as like a coping mechanism, just like with Black people and slave jokes. Like, I don't think it's funny to make jokes about our trauma, about slavery. Not saying that I never used to do it, but as I've grown and matured, I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny to make jokes about picking cotton, about working for massa, about slave women getting raped by their master. I don't think that's funny at all. But hey, maybe you can call me a buzzkill or whatever. I don't care. Call me sensitive. I don't care. It's not funny. Like, it's especially when a white person do it. Like, no, you're racist. So yeah, people tend to use humor as a coping mechanism, and that's really their excuse for why I do this, like why I joke about why no one likes me and why I hate myself, because it's a coping mechanism and it helps me deal with my feelings. And there's nothing wrong with coping mechanisms, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good one, and it's also affecting those around you. Because imagine you saying that joke about yourself thinking that somebody feels the same way about themselves as you do about yourself, and they don't, and you're just sitting there and they're feeling bad for you. Like, I have had moments where someone would say something self-deprecating and it would be like, dang, I feel sorry for you. Like, why do you feel this way about yourself? Like, it's uncomfortable knowing, like, it's uncomfortable seeing somebody put themselves down like that, making themselves the victim in their mind. Like, you're making yourself a victim towards yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you're putting yourself down, calling yourself ugly. Words are powerful, like, you know, words are very powerful. The more you say stuff, the more true it becomes, if you know what I mean. It's called manifesting. You manifesting your prayers, you manifesting everything. Your words are magic, period. Okay, so with that being said, people make depression and anxiety into jokes. They desensitize it and turn it into a quirky trend, whereas depression is no joke, anxiety is no joke. It's not funny. Like, people's mental illness is not funny. It's not a trend. It's not a joke. You saying, oh my gosh, like, I'm so depressed, like, I'm so depressed. School, math makes me so depressed. Math gives me so much anxiety. Trying to be relatable and sound like quirky or whatever, it does nothing. It does not help. It's not a good look, baby. Like, please stop. Like, I don't really know what to say after that. Also, another thing that derives from self-deprecating humor is calling people cocky for actually loving themselves, because now it's so rare to find people that actually think that they're pretty, that actually are confident with themselves, confident with their bodies. It's so rare. And you can't really like call anybody cocky because they don't hate themselves. Like, even if that person is not the beauty standard in your eyes, that doesn't make them cocky. That just means they're confident with the way they look and they accept themselves. Because really, self-love is all about acceptance. Once you accept yourself, then that's when you finally start learning how to build your confidence, how to build that self-love that you've been longing for all these years, and stop making those self-deprecating jokes. Okay, the more you talk bad about yourself, the more worse you feel. It puts a pause on the growth of your self-love. So with that being said, like, please stop the Facebook memes. Because for one, y'all actually took Black people's Facebook memes. Y'all, first it was funny, like, oh my gosh, yeah, but now it's like, get back. You know what I mean? Like, it's not funny no more. Y'all cross out the words and y'all be like, oh my gosh, I want to die. Oh my gosh, I woke up today and now I'm so sad I woke up today. What do you mean? Waking up every morning is a blessing. It should be for everybody. You're lucky you woke up today. So, you know, like I said, words are powerful, words are magic. The more you say something, the more it's going to happen. Just like with manifesting something, just like with praying about something, you're speaking it out into the universe, so the universe can make it true. But yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for listening. I've said my piece. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're actually listening, please make sure you subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.